so much different in the morning, in the daytime than the nighttime.
It looks so much prettier in the day.
The ocean, well, the bay. Not necessarily the ocean, the harbor. We are gonna board one of the harbor cruises. But check out the downtown skyline. Definitely looking like San Francisco. I mean, look at the hill.
Located in the middle of the red building underneath Harvest Solutions on it. You can head inside, purchase tickets, redeem city pass, space needle voucher, or sky view combo.
Alright, bye.
Or just purchase tickets. For this 12:05 1-hour harbor cruise, our vessel has enclosed decks as well as open air seating, restrooms.
Inside the boat's second deck. They don't want to be outside too much. Oh, look, taking pictures over there. Birthday girl. So cool of you. Rudy, where are you?
Alright friends, one last time, we'll welcome aboard. My name is Hesper. You'll be narrating by the staircase here on the second deck. You should be able to hear me wherever you are on the boat, and you don't have to vote at different times. I'll try to point those out as we go along. We are traveling during the off-season, obviously. We have kind of very typical fallish weather for you today. A little breezy, a little rainy off and on, pretty gray. This is kind of our life for the next 4-ish months. Very typical for us here in Seattle. We should have a relatively smooth ride on the vessel. We have a little bit of white caps out here, but we are on salt water. So typically with wind like this and on salt water, we'd be out in the ocean with big, huge waves. But luckily for us in the Puget Sound, we're pretty protected by land on all sides of us. So it will be a relatively smooth ride for us as we move along. But as Captain Amy said, we'll get wakes of other vessels as we are in an active bay. So just we're creating a large children's playground off on our right there with that kind of jellyfish sculpture. That'll be open up soon. We're opening up the boardwalk essentially and letting there be more walking area downtown along the piers. And our Seattle Aquarium, this dark green building to our right here, has doubled in size. So for us, it used to be this green building for several decades, focused on education and research here in the local waters. So most of the wildlife within the aquarium is from the Puget Sound, things like harbor seals, giant Pacific octopus, sea otters from the coast, things like that. And then this summer, the next building, and next to this kind of wooden structure with windows, opened up for us at the end of August. This is an expansion that focuses on the interconnectivity of all the oceans, and that focuses more on the Indian Ocean, and has a walkway. These staircases that we can see alongside of us are brand new to us. They connect you straight from the waterfront to Pike Place Market. It used to be you kind of had to maneuver across a couple roads, up some random staircases to make your way to the market. Now there is a direct connection. And for us, the market, if you haven't gone, I promise you it's not a tourist trap. It is one of the longest running open air markets in the entire nation. Open just about every day minus COVID closures since 1907. I'm handily right next door to one of the busiest ports in the summer when anyone has to disembark early in the morning. They are right next door to one of our most iconic hotels in downtown Seattle. And it's this kind of silver and yellow here with a large red E on top. This is the Edgewater Hotel. The Edgewater was built in 1962, the same year we built the Space Needle. And both of these buildings were built for the Seattle World's Fair, which was like a 6-month-long trade expo that brought 9 million people to the city. It was showcasing a lot of new things in technology and food and science. So a great time to open a hotel, especially a cool one over the water. Except the poor Edgewater ran into a bunch of construction issues as they were building out as a pier, and they had to keep pushing back opening, to the point they missed the 6-month fair completely, and all 9 million visitors had left the city when the hotel opened 2 weeks after the fair had ended. They panicked, they thought, how are we going to get any revenue, make any money? So you see all these beautiful windows over the water? They said, come stay at the Edgewater Hotel, you could fish out of your bedroom window. Now if you've got fishing, you know it's involved blood, guts, bile, scales, but all of that in the carpet and next to your bed in your hotel room. It was a mess. Housekeeping hated it. They found fish in the bathtub, in closets. People were being woken up at 5:30 in the morning as fish were hitting their windows on the way up to the floors above them. It was a mess, but it did give them the attention they wanted. We'll get a good view of the Space Needle further out on the bay as well, with the more kind of skyline view. This is the closest. Again, it was built for the Seattle World's Fair, and as a common at that time, cities would build temporary buildings for the 6-month fair. The Space Needle was going to be one of those buildings, just a temporary 6-month building. But Seattleites fell in love with it. It became iconic in our skyline in such a short amount of time that it was decided we would keep it. And it's still one of the safest buildings in our skyline, able to withstand up to a 9.2 magnitude earthquake and over 200 mile/hour winds. Now alongside the vessel right now, we have taken away the piers. We have semi-man-made, semi-natural setting. We're going along Myrtle Edwards Park. This is an open park. You can see some people using the trails to run and walk along. This is a nice reprieve from all the hills in downtown Seattle. Little flat walk that continues all along the water. Now the water we're on, I mentioned it before, is salt water. We are connected to the Pacific Ocean. So we have 2 high tides and 2 low tides a day. Right now we are at a high tide, or approaching almost the highest of the high tide. Good way to tell is you can see the water's just about where all the logs are along the shore. And in an average day, the difference between our high tide and our low tide is between 11 to 14 feet. So we're so far north, we do have big changes. Come December though, December and July, we have our biggest changes between the tides, and we can get anywhere between 14 to 22 feet between high tide and low tide. And also Dr. Fraser Crane lived on Queen Anne Hill for Fraser in his show in the 90s. Now, towards the end of our tour, we'll go a little more into the shipping area of the bay. Oh, we do have a cool view of the Coast Guard vessel with the 3 tubs alongside of us to our left right now. But we'll go into shipping a little later on in the tour, but we have this massive black and red vessel alongside of us here. This is a bulk carrier. It is waiting to be loaded up with our #1 export by volume. Out of Seattle, you'd think our #1 export by volume would be something we're known for. So hops, coffee, lumber, coal, cannabis, salmon, apples, has absolutely nothing to do with us. Our #1 export out of the city is cattle-grade grain that we get sent to us from the Midwest. It's loaded into these 48 silos. You can see just behind the vessel, those kind of long, grayish tan cylinders. We hold all the grain in there, and then we load it by conveyor belt. Once this vessel is full, pretty much all the red paint we see at the bottom will be underneath the water. We can hold the equivalent of a 115-car train's worth of grain. And you're here at kind of an interesting switch of uses of the bay. So I mentioned before we have a cruise terminal that we went by. That's where the largest cruises come in the summer. And then the smaller cruise ships, we fit #2 and 3 alongside this gray pier just ahead of us. And this tan pier sees open. It's cold storage for things like fishing and apples. So this is true all summer long. And it helps out that right as the time the cruise season is ending, fishing season is also ending up in Alaska. And Seattle is home to the majority of the North American fishing fleet. So So most of the commercial vessels that fish in the Alaskan Gulf and Bering Sea are from Seattle. That's the old Admiral's house, so there hasn't been an Admiral there since the 80s. It's now part of the yacht club and a big venue for weddings and parties. But we're gonna make a tight turn here, and we'll start to see cool, even, this is a better view than the last tour too. We have a good view of the skyline to our left. I'm gonna hold off talking about it till we're kind of aligned in the middle of it. Still kind of talk about what we're seeing out on the right, but feel free again to continue to move around if you'd like photos. The Sound is essentially a fjord, if you're more familiar with that European word. And it's just kind of a large glacier-created body of water. And for us, the Puget Sound goes south, or in the direction the boat's going, down to Olympia, and north up to about Bellingham. It's about 100 miles long. And it's not very wide. We are seeing all the way across it there. That land on the other side is the opposite side of the Puget Sound. At its widest, it's only about 5 miles wide. But you'll look and see that land across from us. It's really close, but you'll notice an absolute lack of bridges. We only have one bridge across the Puget Sound, and that's down south in Tacoma, where the land is so close together it almost kisses. We have a little bridge across that. Otherwise, we don't have bridges across the Puget Sound for two very important reasons. One we talked about is the depth of the water. So Elliott Bay averages about 500 feet deep. The Puget Sound, or the water up on our right, averages about 600 feet deep, deepest spot being 936 feet. Good representation of that is if I was to pick up the Space Needle and drop it off the right side of the boat, it would be underwater. It stands about 605 feet tall. So our water is about 1 Space Needle deep. When you build bridges over water, you typically build it at a 3-to-1 ratio to your depth. So if we're 1 Space Needle deep, our bridge would have to be 3 Space Needles high, about 1,800 feet. Status, you get claim to that section of beach and all the female sea lions on that section of beach. If you are not quite there yet, you lose badly and limp your way up the coast, finding little areas to hang out for the next about 8 months before the next mating season. So these fellas have made their way back up here, most of them showing up within the last about month. And these little guys for us, most of them here average about 300 pounds, some of them might get up to 500. But the big boys down in California and northern Mexico can weigh over 850 pounds. Mostly a coffee grinding company before they built into the cafe empire we know now. We have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Starbucks throughout the city. We are a coffee city, so much so that in our water quality testing, there is caffeine found in our waterways. But if you do like coffee, recommend checking out, even though Starbucks is local to us, we do have we're one of the top cities for small coffee businesses as well. So check out some of our mom and pop coffee shops. Hundreds of them spread throughout the city. There's a couple great ones throughout Park Place Market and just around the market as well. But we have pulled alongside a pretty cool vessel on the right. This red one is pretty unique to Seattle. Most Coast Guard vessels are kind of white or gray and have a red stripe on the bow where that white stripe is. But Seattle is home to the Coast Guard's fleet of icebreakers. And this bright red vessel, the Polar Star, is our icebreaker. And that's why it's bright red. If it's up in the ice up north or down in the Arctic down south, it's hard for helicopters to see, of course, white or gray vessels. So they're instead painted bright red and yellow so they can be directed throughout the ice as they're going along. And just behind the Polar Star, we have 2 stadiums. The gray stadium with all the beams on top is T-Mobile Field, home to our Mariners or our baseball team. And the white stadium with the beam on top is Lumen Field, home to 3 teams. Our women's professional soccer team, the Seattle Reign, R-E-I-G-N. The men's professional soccer team, the Seattle Sounders, who just had their 50th season in the city. And then, of course, our NFL team, the Seattle Seahawks. Lumen Field itself is built kind of like a clamp. It funnels sound waves down to the field. And it can get pretty loud in there, but we weren't quite aware of how loud it was until in 2011, the University of Washington was doing seismic research downtown Seattle. And they had all their equipment kind of spread out going along. And the Seahawks were playing the Saints in a playoff game. And our running back at the time, who was nicknamed the Beast, was Marshawn Lynch. And during this playoff, he ran a 67-yard touchdown, which if you don't know football is pretty much 3/4 of the field. And as he was running this play, everyone in attendance, all 70,000 people, were screaming, shouting, stomping, cheering, all of that sound being sent down to the field. And as this was happening, the seismic equipment started to go off, and before anyone could panic, it stopped. And scientists chased the sound waves back to the center of Lumen Field, where Marshawn Lynch caused a 1.72 at its largest 2.1 magnitude earthquake to radiate from the center of Lumen Field.
That's so awesome.
It lovingly became the Beastquake, and after that playoff game, the University of Washington installed seismic equipment inside of the stadium to do further research. Now, if you did want to catch a ferry, we have a good view of them here on our right. This is Coleman Dock. It's just at Pier 52. So Argosy is Pier 55. You just go down pretty much 2.5 buildings and you will see the ferry terminal. It's got a white bridge going over the road. So if you kind of walk straight to that white pedestrian bridge that you'll see as soon as you're on the sidewalk, that will point you at the ferry dock. And again, those ferries to Bainbridge Island go about every 40 minutes. So if you do happen to miss the most recent one, it's not that long of a wait for the next one.
Oh yeah, you're recording. Back at the Space Needle. This time during the day. So we're gonna see the city. And it's actually, the sun is out, so you're gonna get a good view. So we'll see you on top.
Anyway, welcome to the West Elevator. This goes 800 feet a minute. We're about to pass through the 10-story private event space. Here it comes. And there it goes. Now, the Space Needle was the centerpiece of the Century 21 World's Fair, which was held right in front of us here in Seattle Center. Apparently, it was designed as a mix of the Eiffel Tower, rocket ship, and a flying saucer. Best way to explain that choice that I've been able to find being that it was 1962. Now, on top of the Seattle Center House, two giant daddy longlegs slumber for now, but when the Dark Lord Jeff Bezos arises from Lake Union, they'll awaken to devour the hopes of men and bring spidery goodness to the world. And we're just about to the top at 52 stories. Top house is a disc, so if you get lost, just circle. And if you're afraid of heights, we sell alcohol. Enjoy. Among other things, but the other things don't really help.
Good.
If you see anybody from corporate, you should tell them to give me commissions on the drink sales.
Yeah.
They owe me money.
Oh, thank you.
You too.
Michael, it is. You got it. Thank you. How you doing, my good sir?
You guys look familiar.
So much different in the morning, in the daytime than the nighttime.
So much prettier in the day. The wannabe Daily Planet.
I know. You can walk that way. Where? Oh, look! There's where we were yesterday. Okay, so Dick's is somewhere over there because this is the hockey stadium where the Kraken play.
Oh, okay.
That's where we were. So we drove right in front of it. We went up that way, back home this way. Go back to the Airbnb. So Dick's is somewhere around here somewhere. That's so crazy.
Oh, right there. Because that's where the movie theater was.
Oh, okay, okay. How cool is that? We're starting to learn the city.
Number 10 is out here. So to get out here, you gotta take these very
These beautiful people. Oh, that's what he's talking about. The spiders.
Yeah. You couldn't see them last night.
No, I don't know what he was talking about. Now I know what he's talking about. See the stadium over there?
And this is the building that they're making.
Yeah, oh yeah, the top of the building now. They should have that theme going. They should probably put some more daddy long leg spiders all the way around. You're good? They're fake. They're not real. There it is, guys. A beautiful Seattle skyline. Stadiums. There is T-Mobile right in the center of the screen. To the left of the stadium field, Seahawks and Heritage Seahawks respectively. Yeah, Elliott Bay. Alright. I'm learning so much. So later on today, we'll be taking a ferry boat from here to the island and try to find dinner for later on tonight for Isabel's birthday / our anniversary. Kind of excited about that. It's beautiful outside. It's a mixture of a little rain, a little wind. Last night was actually a little colder than what it is right now, but I am wearing a thicker jacket today. I'm wearing like a raincoat, like a trench coat jacket. I'm glad that I invested in this. It's a really nice jacket. But it's such a beautiful view from up here, guys. There's yesterday, you can tell people hanging out. The restrooms are behind me, more people on this side. And if you guys didn't know, the airport is actually over there yonder. We have Tacoma, Washington, which is south of Seattle. I don't know if you guys can see the plane on top. If you guys can't see the plane, it's gonna go over there in land. Alright guys, one last view of the beautiful skyline of Seattle from up here. Beautiful experience. If you're in the Space Needle, you guys have to come up here and check this out. It's a really cool view. Now that the sun is out, especially nicer. And night's beautiful too, but some of the day you can see how long and how far Seattle stretches. And the other suburbs, like on this side, you got Bellevue, which we were supposed to go tonight. But that's not going to happen. We're going to go somewhere else. I think something even better, to be honest with you. There's Bellevue straight ahead that way. So we're ready to get some souvenirs and head on to the ferry. It's right there.
Yeah, go down to that floor and that's the elevator.
Thank you.
Oh my god. That's your girl. Got us a change. We're doing the Mold-O-Matic. Everything is getting so cashless now.
Which is fine, but if you're gonna have machines.
I know. Oh, sorry, baby. Alright. Alright. So it's $5.
Insert your dollar bills.
Okay.
Like earrings are like fire. You're very calm.
Okay.
I'm not.
There it goes.
You're very Leo. You are Leo.
I think it's popping the hot magma in the plastic. Oh, word! Oh, okay, so we don't have destroyed the top.
Be careful, drops of hot plastic.
And then it says also to hold it upside down before we pick it up, so. Okay. That's warm. That is cool.
People come over and be like, what's going on? You're like, I'm in love with Seattle.
It's warm. That is so cool. Alright. So I have to be very careful because it does have the point on top.
Oh, it smells like plastic.
Yeah, it's plastic.
Yummy.
Let's go outside. Maybe we might get
It'll cool down.
Yeah. But I'll be careful with it. Cool. There it is. Woo. Alright guys, we're going in. All the lanes are going through. So the next lane's gonna go up right now, and then we're gonna be next after that. Hopefully, it's not too many cars. So there they go. Get moving up. First time on our ferry. It's already getting dark out there. Okay, so they're trying to line us up. Oh wow, look at there's like little compartments on the side too.
Oh, he's telling you to look.
Oh, because they can barely fit there. Okay. Look at this, guys. So we're just there. We're on the ferry. A couple more minutes to go back down to where our car is on the bottom. That is so cool, though. Oh my gosh, we're at the, what is it, Basa? Vietnamese restaurant here in Bridge Island. Look at that tamarind sour. Yeah, the rolls. We got the wontons. We got the beauty. Let's eat, please. I know you just take a bite. Love that. I'm gonna actually take one of these with me. Very, very happy birthday to you. To many more. Ooh. That is really, really freaking good.